Hey Pisces, this is Michael with your general reading for December 2020. I hope that this video finds you well and in good spirits. Happy holidays to those of you who celebrate those. We are at the end of the year, which is kind of crazy. I feel like this year has been very strange with the flow of time because it feels like it's gone on forever, and at the same time it was almost like I blinked and it was over. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. I do want to do some quick housekeeping before we dive in today. I do have all of my links in the description box down below, so if you're looking for a personal reading, Reiki session, or feel called to make a donation, all of that is available for you. I do also have an astrology blog that kind of accompanies these monthly videos. It just lists out the aspects and transits by date, so that is available. You don't have to memorize any of the days I will be talking about for the astrology portion of this video, and it's a great way to learn astrology just by tracking what's happening each and every day. I do appreciate all of you who have supported this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. It's because of all of your support I am able to keep doing this work, and I really, really appreciate it. It helps me, pay my bills and feed myself, so that's super, especially in 2020. I appreciate it. So the astrology this month is really, really interesting. For those of you who just want to skip ahead to the tarot reading, there is a timestamp linked down below, but I highly recommend that you pay attention, at least kind of hear me out a little bit here, because we are closing out a lot of cycles at the end of this year, in December for 2020. We have a great conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn. Many of you have probably heard this at this point if you're kind of watching these videos. You may have even heard me reference in previous months this conjunction. It is probably the most astrologically significant event of the year, and that's going to happen on the 21st. And not only that, we actually have a solar eclipse on the 14th of December. We started off, or rather, ended November with a lunar eclipse in Gemini, and for you Pisces, this is really hitting you pretty significantly. I'm actually a Virgo, and it hit me as well in kind of a heavy way. The reason is because both of our signs are squaring off with this Gemini energy, so we might feel especially scattered. We might feel like a little bipolar, up in the air, hot and cold, all of these really strained emotions at the start of this month. I know I felt very unsettled, to be honest with you. It's taken me a little bit longer to get to these readings. I kind of noticed that with some other readers that I follow or pay attention to. So there's something definitely up in the air. So if you're feeling a little scattered or a little off, it's a good time to kind of ground, for sure. Especially as the moon is kind of moving into the sign of Cancer, it's more comfortable there. It's a good time to ground and take care of yourself and nurture yourself. So just a little FYI. For some of you, there may be changes or endings that are happening in your home or family life. That could be with your relationships to family members, or the way that you relate to your lineage, the way that you relate to your ancestors. There's something that is kind of coming full circle. And that could be you moving, that could be you having conflict with your family, kind of addressing some of these deeper issues. Because where this is hitting your chart, this eclipse that we ended off November with, we're actually going to be feeling its energy for the next 6 months, but it's particularly pronounced right now. And the 4th house, the IC, your Gemini energy in your chart, this is actually your subconscious, because it's the conditioning that we've received as children, and it's how we kind of live our lives now without even realizing it. So you're probably looking through a lot of ancestral programming or conditioning and your own upbringing. So these are things that are coming to the surface. They're going to be very, very thematic for this month, especially in the first half of December. Once we have this new moon eclipse, or I'm sorry, new moon eclipse, this solar eclipse, on the 14th in Sagittarius, this is actually going to be a boon for you, a new beginning in your career. Some of you might be changing jobs, or there's this just sense of purpose that is calling to you. Maybe career isn't important to you, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom or something like that. Really what Sagittarian energy represents for you is how you show up to the world at large. And again, there could just be this thing with social media as well, or just the way that you're kind of portraying yourself to the world around you, or the world bigger than you, I should say. And it's really dynamic and exciting energy. I do want to say, Pisces, if you're thinking about making a career change, or if you want to get a promotion, this new moon is a really powerful time to set that intention, because new moons are, you know, it's a new cycle, it's a new energy, it's great for manifestation. And when we have an eclipse, like we have on the 14th, it is going to be almost triple the normal power of an eclipse, or of a new moon. And that is actually going to be conjunct with the galactic center, which is the 26th degree in Sagittarius. I want to say this eclipse is happening at the 23rd. Those could be reversed, to be honest with you. But wherever that degree of Sagittarius falls in your chart, that is going to be really, really significant to you personally. If you want to calculate that, that is available to you down below. That should help you. But it's a really profound time for you. It's really, these eclipses are affecting you, Pisces, in a pretty powerful way, actually, and it might not feel very comfortable at first, to be really honest. There's almost this push that is making you get out of your comfort zone a little bit. So if you're looking to start a new career or make changes to your life in a pretty big way, otherwise, that's a good window of time for you to start doing that, or for you to set that intention and start thinking about that. With the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction that we have on December 21st, that is happening in Aquarius. And I want to say for you, that is actually your 12th house. So there's been a lot of spiritual lessons for you this year, Pisces, a lot of reflection and inner work. Again, this thing with your subconscious, the parts of yourself you don't even know that you don't know about. You might be, you might have the mirror turned on you, or you might have had the mirror turned on you a lot this year. And what's interesting with this conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter, there is a lot of karma with these two planets. Jupiter is like the karmic reward. It's the good karma, you being rewarded for the work you've been doing. Saturn is going to kind of push you, and there's lessons. It's not always easy. And if you've been doing what you're supposed to be with these struggles, where you might feel really stuck, where who hasn't, or who hasn't in 2020 felt this kind of confined energy that's also part of this Jupiter-Saturn dance that we've been in this whole year, especially in the sign of Capricorn. But as it's moving into Aquarius, there's now this shift in our lessons, this shift in our karma, and it's really going to either show you more work that you need to be doing, or there's going to be a big boon for you, and it can be both, actually. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So you might expect some miracles, you might expect some profound shifts and changes that are happening in your life for the better, and it can also feel like it's working against you at first, or it might feel like it's blocking you from what you think you want, and there's some growth that you need to do before you can reach that. That's all what Saturn is about. And finally, at the end of the month, we actually have another full moon, and that is going to be in the sign of Cancer, which for you is your 5th house, your house of pleasure, of fun, creativity, and even children. It's very much a childlike energy in our chart. And there could actually be, this creative project that you're working on that's coming to a full circle again, kind of coming to fruition. There's just a lot of energy for you creatively. If you are looking to get pregnant, that could actually be a time, or around that time you start to conceive. That's something to kind of put on the calendar as well for those of you who are looking at that. And it's really just a nice full moon. That's actually going to be a really nice way for you to finish off this year, Pisces. And what's interesting about it is that we actually started this year off, 2020, with a full moon in Cancer. So we started the year with it, and now we're ending the year with it again. So it's kind of a nice review period as we're coming into this new year. And I'm sure for a lot of you, you can kind of relate to how much has changed for you this year, even though with lockdown and all the restrictions that have been placed on us, we might not have been able to make the physical changes we wanted to make. I think our priorities have really shifted. And it really showed us what was most important to us, and what it was worth keeping, what we persevered with, and what we realized wasn't actually that important in the grand scheme of things. And that might be important for you as well. And for you, it has a lot to do with your fun and the things that bring you joy, your creativity. So there's a lot for you to, I think, to digest there. And it could be a creative boon for you as well. And with your ruling planet Neptune still in your sign, you have a lot of this dreamy, intuitive energy that comes so naturally to you, and it's working very well with that full moon. So that's really good, because it's making a lot of confusion, or creating a lot of havoc and confusion for the rest of us, maybe even for you throughout the first part of this month. With the eclipses we're having in Gemini and Sagittarius, there's just a lot of confusion, a lot of misinterpretation of things, and people may think they know, or really think they have the right answer, or they know what's going on, and it can actually be a bit confusing. So just some things to be aware of as we're kind of finishing up the year. It's been very intense, a lot of unprecedented energy. That might come up in that kind of divisiveness we've been experiencing, but I do think that could be shifting a little bit, although I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few more aftershocks, to be honest with you. That's pretty much it for the astrology. I do want to get into the cards at this point. I feel like I could just talk about the stars all day and really make that a video in and of itself, to be honest, especially for this month. I highly recommend that you look into this great conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter. I'm probably going to be doing a live stream or another video towards the middle of the month, just kind of talking more about this energy and how it's going to be affecting everybody by your zodiac sign. And I think that's just a good review, a good refresher of this video, and more concise. I have a lot of information that I give during these readings, and I think it can be a bit overwhelming or a bit hard to keep track of everything, so it never hurts to rewatch throughout the month as well. But let's see what we have for you. What are the cards for Pisces in the first half of December, and then we'll look at the second half of the month in just a moment here. What are the cards for Pisces? Interesting. So we actually have your energy as this Knight of Cups, and this is kind of the energy that you are embodying, which is this very dreamy, romantic, creative energy. Again, very, very Pisces, this card. It's one of the Pisces indicator cards. There could be another water sign who is very close in your life, who is kind of helping you create or just feel really stable and calm with this Nine of Pentacles, Nine of Coins here. And is kind of helping you with this burden that you might have been carrying with the Ten of Wands in reverse. I feel like there's this big energy of you taking a sigh of relief, honestly, Pisces, and really letting go of things that just aren't yours to carry. For some of you, there is another individual who's kind of dreamy or creative who's helping you do that. But honestly, I feel like it's just you. I don't feel like that's the majority of you. I feel like for the majority of you, you're spending some time by yourself with this Nine of Coins here. And I know a lot of people are already in isolation again. A lot of people are already in quarantines again. But honestly, this feels different from the start of the year. And that's honestly an interesting point astrologically, just as an aside here for a moment, if you will humor me. We're experiencing a lot of very similar transits and aspects that we experienced at the beginning of the year again. What's different is that we have all of these outer planets that were retrograde at the beginning of the year, kind of shutting us in, shutting us down, not letting us move forward. Most of them are direct again. So there is a lot of repeating things or a lot of repeating sequences that we're seeing at the end of the year that we saw at the beginning of the year, especially during your season in March. But it's different this time. There's just a different quality to it. There's more forward-moving energy. I don't think it's as much of a disruption. You're really coming into yourself a bit more, and it's actually helping you shed some burdens or shed some things that have been weighing you down with this Ten of Wands in reverse. Honestly, Pisces, I really like seeing this. I'm not seeing anything that's too concerning for the first half of this month here, even though there might be some shakeups with home or with family. Maybe that's what is inspiring this energy. You're just like, okay, I can't carry this. This isn't my burden. I can only do so much for other people. I just have to take care of myself. And I think there's this big, there is this transformation. I was just going to say that with this butterfly card. It's actually 11:11 looking down at the clock here. You are going through a transformation, Pisces, and you are spending some time alone here. It's like you're this butterfly in this chrysalis, still going through this transformation process, but you can feel that something beautiful is forming within you, and you will be spreading your wings. You feel that, you have the faith in that. There's a lot of faith that is actually returning to people at the end of the month when Jupiter enters into Aquarius, which I think is the 19th of December. Jupiter was really weighed down when it was in Capricorn. And to be honest with you, being so close to Saturn for the first part of 2021, we're still going to have our sense of faith restricted and tested, but that will lift, I think, towards the second half of 2021, or there's going to be a lot of momentum, societal change, a lot of shifts that are happening in power. And, 2021 is really going to be a lot about revolution, transformation. We're still going through this energy for a few years, especially with Saturn being there. But how that affects you personally, Pisces, is you are going through a transformation in your subconscious. And there's a spiritual transformation that's happening for you. Some of you might actually be healing from a toxic relationship or toxic relationship patterns that you realize just have not been working for you. It's not been serving your love life. You're letting that go. You're doing this self-care to help you ease through this transformation. Whatever this is applying to in your life, Pisces, I really, really like it. I'm really vibing with this energy here, and I think you will as well. So let's take a look at the second half of the month now. Where's all of this leading, rather? I don't want to put a strict time frame on this. Where is all of this leading? Old habits might be dying hard. Okay. So the reason I say this, the first half of the month, I really feel like you're focused on you. Healing this energy, nurturing yourself. Second half of the month, we have the Three of Swords with the Ten of Cups in reverse. Not so thrilled to see that, to be completely honest with you, but again, it's almost like a final test, is how this energy feels to me. Some of you might be repeating the same mistakes. Some of you might be falling into old patterns with your love life. And it's like, if you're in that camp, I just want to say, like, it's a test. It's a review before you're supposed to move on to something different, or change the way that you approach relationships, change the way that you show up in your relationships. There could potentially be an ending of a relationship for some of you. I want to say that. But I don't actually feel like that's the majority of you again. This feels more like you looking out for yourself. You're not settling for relationships that are ultimately harmful or detrimental to you, because you've been focusing a lot on your happiness in the first part of this month, and you might be weeding the garden, so to speak, because something is definitely out of balance with the Temperance card in the reverse. And it could just be that the timing is off in situations or in your relationships. There could just be something off with the timing, and there's some I almost feel like a bubble is being popped for some of you, and it might not feel super comfortable, actually, but I think it's a good thing. It's sometimes a good thing to have the bubble get popped, okay? Because I know as Pisces, you are very dreamy, you are very idealistic, and sometimes seeing the world with that sense can really help you see the best in people. But that can also totally backfire, where you've had this tendency of seeing the best in people so often that you've been stabbed in the back. And it's actually made you quite guarded or quite cynical. And maybe that's the dynamic that is actually healing for some of you. Because I gotta be honest, this feels very internal. When I'm looking at this energy, and you also have the Knight of Swords, the 10 of Pentacles, and the 7 of Cups. Some of you are really rethinking what it is that makes you happy. And that could actually be why the 10 of Cups is showing up in the reverse, because a lot of the time people read the 10 of Cups as your dreams coming true. You've reached this point after the storm here. You know, you've seen through all of these intense emotions and you've come out better and brighter for it. That's kind of the 10 of Cups up right here. In the reverse, you may have actually reached something or reached a point that at one point in your life was like, this is all I ever want. And part of this heartache or part of this disappointment or kind of this bubble popping is like, oh shoot, I got everything I wanted and I still don't feel settled or content. And there's really a couple of ways you could look at that and deal with this energy, navigate this energy. I feel like for the collective I'm tapping into, though, you might have wanted things for the wrong reasons. I kind of pressing into this or leaning into this a little more, I feel like for the collective I'm tapping into, you might have been telling yourself like, oh, I always wanted to be an artist, or oh, I always wanted to travel. And I'm almost getting the sense that for some of you, you wanted these specific things because of the people you were attracted to. Because in your mind, that would make you more compatible. And we often do this subconsciously. We don't even realize that we're doing it. And I kind of feel like Pisces, not to tease you or make fun of you, but that is also kind of a tendency that Pisces can have. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something some of you relate to. And that's not just talking about romantic relationships. That could also be talking about friends. It could also be talking about your family members. It could be talking about any number of relationships or any specific person in your life. You're kind of realizing, oh, I convinced myself I wanted something I really didn't actually want. And now you're shifting priorities. And again, there is this thing with you making a change in your career or with your dreams, the way that you show up in the world, what you strive for. That is all this Sagittarian energy for you. And some of you are really changing that. Or setting a new intention. And I do feel like there's a lot of stability. For those of you who want to make some sort of change here, with this 10 of Pentacles, there's a lot of rewards, but it feels like there's a disappointment that's kind of catalyzing all of this, to be totally honest with you. There is also a misunderstanding in a family situation with some of you, especially with the Knight of Swords here. Could be with an air sign, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, but to be honest with you, I think someone is just coming at you very harshly, or maybe you're coming at someone very harshly, and because of that, there's just a lot of reactivity. Remember how I was talking about these aftershocks of divisiveness, of separation, of disconnectedness? You might be experiencing that towards the end of the month. And I actually feel like for those of you who are experiencing this, keep in mind that this might be a misunderstanding, or somebody might be going to worst case scenario thinking and not seeing the situation totally clearly, and they're responding more from an emotional place rather than what is physically happening or what is happening in actuality. I want to say that with this Seven of Cups energy, this Neptune energy is a little strong, and it can be making some people a little misguided, is almost a word I would use for that. So let's see what we have for the animal wisdom for the second half of the month for Pisces. How can we work through this energy? Peacock. Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. I'm actually really glad that this card came out. Kind of confirmation. You are embracing your true self and your true colors. There is this realization for you towards the end of the month how you may have been creating this identity or deriving your ego from the wants and desires of other people, and now you're really figuring out what you want for yourself. And I'm not gonna lie, that can come in some sharp ways for some of you if you're really not willing to look at that. But by being open to this at the start of December, I actually think it could mitigate a lot of this pain or a lot of this confusion. You really just need to be open to this idea that what you want might have changed, or what you want might not have been actually what you wanted. And you're really, really coming into yourself with this peacock energy. And I'm even thinking of this full moon, again, towards the end of the month. There's a lot of creativity here, a lot of artistry. And it's also this energy of accepting that you're not for everyone. And maybe you're not meant to be close with everybody or the people that you've been trying to be close to. And that could be that pain, that could be that sharpness that's happening or that you're experiencing. But peacock energy is all about honoring where you're at and where other people are at. It's not about trying to get everybody on the same page. Sometimes that's just not possible. And when there's this sort of conflict or misunderstanding, there's often this desire to remediate the problem as quickly as possible or to just like shut it out. But with peacock energy, there's almost this openness that allows for disagreements, that allows for different perspectives, and it's not about anyone having to change. It's just honoring where you are at that time and where they're at that time. So really, really interesting energy. That is all I have for you this month, Pisces. I do hope that this was helpful for you. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. What are these changes that you're manifesting? What is it that you're reaching for? What are these new goals? I'm really, really excited to hear about them because I'm getting a good vibe from that, honestly, even if there's a bit of some bumps in the road towards the end of the month. I'm really, really excited to hear from all of you. So comment down below, be sure to share this video, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, Pisces, and have a happy December, happy holidays, and happy New Year as well.